Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're having a look at the new Slaves to Darkness Darkoath Army Set for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So first of all, I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us a free review copy to check out on the site. In this video we're going to be having a look at the new set, seeing what's inside, how the models go together, checking out the Battletome supplement in here, and hopefully having a few of these painted for the end. I'm a big Slaves to Darkness fan. I've got quite a big army, and I've really loved the aesthetic of the Darkoath that they've introduced. Starting with, I think we had the War Queen and the Malign Portents, and I feel we got a hero in Silver Tower as well. And since then, they've kind of gradually replaced the old Warhammer Fantasy Marauder stuff with this Darkoath. It kind of gives it a new identity for these warriors, so hopefully there's a bit of lore in here about these too. But yeah, this looks a decent set. This retails at £120, and as ever with these boxes, comes with a host of miniatures in there too. So we get the 24-page Battletome supplement, so there's not going to be a lot in here. I believe it is just the rules for the models in the box, so there's no, surprise models hiding in there. But that's cool, they're really nice models. We get a Darkoath Chieftain on Warsteed, who looks really cool. We get the Wilder Fiend, 5 Fell Riders, and then 2 sprues of 10 Darkoath Marauders. And these look to be the replacement for the Chaos Marauders. And it looks like you've got the option for sword and board, or spears as well. At the minute, I don't know which one's going to be better game-wise. I'm going to build one of each just because, it looks cool having the multiple units. So yeah, fair addition to the Darkoath forces. In the Slaves of Darkness book. It wouldn't surprise me if in 4th edition, when it comes around to Slaves of Darkness turn to get a Battletome, that we see some of the remaining kind of Marauder flavoured bits get updated too, like the War Shrine maybe, and a big gribbly centrepiece monster for these would be pretty cool too. But yeah, without further ado, let's crack open the box and have a look at what is inside. So if we pop that open, let's have a look what is in here. So straight away, an absolute load of sprues. Let's get these out and have a nosy at what we've got. Fair few kits here. Let's put them to one side for now. And we will pull out the first kit in here, which looks like it's the new Darkoath Chieftain on Steed. Again, really nice model. Looks like we've got some weapon options there, with a choice of an axe or a sword, and I know there's a couple of different head options for this one too. So yeah, if you've got multiples in the army, you can give them different looks. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to painting this guy up. I painted up there was a store only or event only Darkoath Chieftain last year, and I've been painting that up as a bit of a practicer to getting a scheme together for the Darkoath, and that was a very nice model, so I'm expecting this to be equally cool. So we've got him. It looks like this long sprue here is the Wilder Fiend. So this is, I think it's a reimagining of the Chaos Spawn, to be honest, but I think it's essentially a hero of the Darkoath who has basically turned into this big gribbly monster over time, and now this thing protects the tribe and kind of takes on anyone looking to challenge them. And this is a really nice model too. I am very much looking forward to getting this built. I think this has got a couple of head options too, which we'll see when we get to the instruction manual. But yeah, he's going to be really cool to paint up. So that's the Wilder Fiend. We also have the new cavalry. So these look very dynamic as well. Again, we had the old Marauder Horsemen. These look substantially bigger than them, because I think the Darkoath in general are bigger than the old Marauders. and it looks like each horse is going to have a distinct build. I know some people don't like the lack of, I guess, kind of modular nature of some of these kits. I do think they look a lot more dynamic when they've got single kind of mono builds though. And that said, it looks like there's a number of heads on here, so you will be able to convert, customise them a little bit. We'll see that in more detail when we get to the instructions. I know there's a couple of different weapon options. You can give them javelins or great swords, I think they can have. So yeah, we'll see that in a little bit. But yeah, they look very nice. I think they're really cool. So yeah, that's the new cavalry. And then we get 2 sets of frames for the new Darkoath Marauders. So I'll put one of those over here and have a look at what is included on these sprues. And yeah, they are very nice. It doesn't look like they've got many pieces to each of them, which is good when building up your kind of basic infantry. Like I said earlier, they've got an option of sword and spear. And I think there's quite a few different head options on here as well. So if you do have multiple units of them, you can have them all looking different, which is a really, really good thing, because obviously if you went for a Darkoath heavy Slaves to Darkness army, now you have plans of doing an army of just Darkoath and then maybe some monsters and gribblies. Because that's the side that appeals to me rather than the Chaos Warriors. I think by having so many heads in the kit, at least you'll have a nice kind of diverse looking force, which is cool. But yeah, they're really cool. Very much looking forward to getting some paint on these and getting them built. So yeah, fair few kits including the box. Now obviously that's not all we get. We do get some other bits in here too. Mysterious sealed envelope, which I think is going to control the contain the Battletome. Bases in there for all the models. If we move that out of the way. Now one of the things that Games Workshop have done recently is move away from single-use plastic. So this, we saw in the Tau army box, there was a nice kind of like fold-out cardboard kind of sleeve that everything held in. We've got less kind of showy here. This little envelope with the bits in for the Darkoath. But still, I think that's a nice change. So we'll have a look at the warscroll cards in a little bit, and the Battletome supplement itself. But before we jump to that half of the video where we check that out, we'll just have a quick look at the instructions and see if there's anything we need to be aware of when putting these together. Most kits go together really easily from Games Workshop, so don't be too worried about that, but sometimes there will be a few kind of optional parts, so it's worth having a look, kind of working out which variation you want to build first. So we've got the Darkoath Wilder Fiend, and I'm fairly certain this does have a number of different heads. He looks really cool. I don't know which head to go for. We might have to build up both of them and kind of decide later on which one. In the case of this one, it looks like it's actually quite a bit more customizable than that. With a number of different horns, you can have the mouth open or closed. So yeah, again, if you've got a couple of these in your army, you can have them looking different. And then this kind of chain of bones that goes around the neck, there's a few different ones of them too. So yeah, definitely cool for making a couple of them look different, which is cool. We've then got the Darkoath Chieftain and Warseed, like we mentioned when we were looking at the pieces. There's quite a few variant parts on these as well. Even down to the horse having a few different heads, so that's nice to see. I do like that. Again, it means if you maybe pick up a couple of these boxes to do a full Darkoath force, at least your heroes and your monsters are going to look different, which is cool. Onto the Marauders themselves, also there's a whole load of shields as well to keep them looking different. And then each model can be built with either the kind of close combat weapon or the spear too. And it looks like there's at least 2 heads for each model as well. So yeah, I think across the army you're going to be able to have some very different looking Marauders, which is cool. Yeah, in fact in some of the heads there's 3 or 4 different heads, so yeah, I think there's definitely room here for having, you know, all your battle line filled with Darkoath and them all looking slightly different, which is really cool. And then the Fell Riders similarly have quite a few optional parts that can be mixed out, even though the kind of each build of the horse is kind of fixed. The kind of adornments on them and the shields and the heads can all be interchanged. So again, I don't know what I'm going to build these ones as. I think I might build these with javelins, just to add a bit of range support to my my Darkoath. But both builds look good, and I think I'm going to have to pick up another box of these to have both variations. Like I say, this seems quite a good one for picking up multiples of this box if you can get it, because the Darkoath themselves you're definitely going to use to fill out your battle line, and then the cavalry too. I can see a couple of units of them being quite handy. So yeah, that's really fun. So yeah, so let's look at the kits. What we're going to do now is jump ahead and have a look at the actual rules and the Darkoath supplement. So let's dive into the Darkoath supplement itself. Now first thing, this is just like a paperback mini Battletome supplement, so you do need the existing Slaves of Darkness Battletome. I mean, I guess it's a bit of a moot point now, because in a couple of months we'll be playing the 4th edition of the game and all these rules will be changing. But what is cool, obviously, you'll be able to use these units in your final few games of you know, Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, and hopefully the rules aren't too different come 4th edition, or at least the same kind of vibe the units have, because there's lots of fun synergy and cool bits in here. So yeah, I'll have a quick look through the book. Now, like normal, the first half of the book is all lore, and it talks about the Darkoath. Essentially, they're undivided marauders, but they worship, like, not necessarily just the Chaos Pantheon, but there might be a local myth of a spirit that they make sacrifices to in order to make crops better, and that is an aspect of chaos that they worship. I really like this. They kind of introduced that with the war cry, war bands, to show that, you know, chaos isn't necessarily as overt as Khorne/Nurgle Tzeentch, and I like that. It kind of gives these guys their own identity. You haven't got Mark of Khorne Darkoath. They worship whatever god that they need to in order to survive out in the wilds of the mortal realms. These are people who've essentially been forsaken by Sigmar, and they've turned to darker gods in order to stay alive. At the end of the day, the cities of Sigmar and the Darkoath, I guess, are two sides of the same coin. One that's been kind of protected and embraced by Sigmar, and the others that have been left to themselves and have turned to darker gods in order to you know, survive. It touches on the kind of mechanic of the Darkoath given lore form as well. Each Darkoath will take an oath stone, and on that stone they'll inscribe a rune that basically says, I'm going to slay a monster, or I'm going to take this village for my war chief. Once they achieve that goal, they get bestowed on powers from, you know, the Chaos Gods, and they'll become stronger. Not quite turning into demon princes and the like we see on the Eye of the Gods chart, but get additional supernatural abilities, which is cool. Obviously, if they fail to uphold those oaths, though, well, the Chaos Gods are fickle, aren't they? And they kind of have a price. One of the things that's introduced in the book are the Wilder Fiends. Now, these are previous tribe members who have been blessed, quote marks, by the gods and turned into these horrific creatures. They've got a kind of a little element of sentience to them, but essentially the Darkoath sacrifice you know, people to them. They see this as something that needs to be fed in order to kind of achieve their vows, and sometimes if things get really kind of dangerous, they can lure them out onto the battlefield, and there they'll see their kind of true form ripping through the enemy units. And again, we'll see that a little bit in the rules for these. But yeah, really like the Darkoath lore. I mentioned at the start of the video, it wouldn't surprise me if they end up expanding on this stuff. I think it's no secret that a lot of the old Warhammer Fantasy kits, they're slowly getting phased out so they can sit in the old world, and then there's, you know, Age of Sigmar kits that are essentially the same concept, but given a Mortal Realms vibe, you know, which is really cool. And the Darkoath absolutely kind of replaced that Marauder aesthetic. It wouldn't surprise me if we see things like the War Shrine go maybe in the next Battletome and is replaced with some kind of Darkoath mobile shrine of some description. The same concept, but a different model, a different thing that leans more into the Darkoath way of fighting. And I think that's really cool. As part of writing this review, me and Dave had a battle, Skaven versus Slaves of Darkness, predominantly Darkoath, and then kind of filled up my remaining points with all the kind of gribbly monsters, you know, like Furies and Raptorixes, and all the Ogroid stuff and the Minotaurs, all that cool stuff, to give a proper kind of like Chaos Waste feeling army. And it was really, really cool. Is it called the Rampages? I forget which one it is. The one that lets you recycle Darkoath units made it feel like a real kind of like horde that was kind of coming to get the Skaven. And they did really well. The Oath system was cool as well. Obviously, as we look through the War Scrolls, there's a few things that synergise with that playstyle too, which is really, really good. But yeah, we get the gallery of models, and like I say, it is just the models in the box. There's no, you know, secret surprise models that are hidden in here. If and when that comes, I'm guessing it'd probably be when Slaves of Darkness get their turn in for 4th edition. You know, we've got a lot of the Chaos Warrior stuff. We've got a lot of Vanguard stuff, and we've got the new character coming for the final Dawnbringers book as well. So that stuff's quite well represented. It's nice that this stuff replaces those decades-old Marauders. I mean, the Marauder Horsemen are relatively new, and they're still really old. And these, we'll look at some of the painted models at the end of the video, but these are really, really nice models. And as an aside, if you did want to play Old World with them, I reckon a lot of these units would fit quite nicely on square bases. You know, you could use the Wilder Fiend as a Chaos Spawn maybe, or a Demon Prince, you know, because they're a little bit smaller for Old World. So yeah, I think there's some cool ideas there. So onto the rules themselves. Like I say, this is a supplement to the Slaves of Darkness book. All these units have the undivided keyword and can be included in any army. And you know, there's no kind of build that they have to go in, but obviously they favour that recycling units for the Darkoath stuff, which works really well with these guys. The Darkoath Chieftain, movement 12, he's got some pretty decent attacks, considering that obviously you can get some buffs from the Eye of the Gods, and again with the undivided kind of key mark, he can re-roll the dice as well, so makes him quite reliable for stacking those Eye of the Gods results if he takes objectives and slays heroes and the like. He's got Deathblow. We've seen that on a few of the other Darkoath characters in the Slaves of Darkness book. Essentially that means if he rolls a hit of a 6, it does a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. So that's really nice for getting some mortal wounds through, considering he's got quite a lot of attacks. His horse is surprisingly aggressive too, with its blade mask. I've built it with this kind of blade coming out of its nose, and yeah, it can do D3 damage with that at -1 rend, so it's a vicious horse. Now the thing that makes him really good in that sub-faction though is Destined for Glory. So that allows him to do 2 different heroic actions, or to do heroic leadership twice. This works really well because in the kind of Darkoath favouring sub-faction, I'm sure it's called the Ravagers, bringing back half a unit of Darkoath in the hero phase counts as a heroic action. The fact that this guy can do 2 heroic actions mean essentially you can do that and still do something. You still get a command point, you can still heal him, you can still call a finest hour. It makes him a really, really reliable general to keep recycling these units without losing any of the effectiveness that you might sometimes have to sacrifice in order to do that. So that's pretty cool. Every Darkoath unit also has an oath they have to fulfill. Again, we've seen this in the Slaves of Darkness Battletome, and it's expanded upon here. And this is really nice because it kind of makes you play with the unit how it should play in the lore. So this guy is leading the tribe. If you pick him first to fight in the combat phase, he gets his oath done, and all Darkoath units within 12 inches get +1 to wound. That is very, very good. Obviously on himself he's going to get that immediately too as well, so he's pretty nasty then, wounding on 2s, doing all that attack on him, and this guy's, you know, doing quite a bit of damage. But again, you bring him for that multiplier. He's going to be bringing back a unit every turn. He's making all the units near him fight stronger. Really, really cool hero to lead your Darkoath tribe, and obviously the model's awesome too. We've then got the Darkoath Wilderfiend, and at first on paper I thought, okay, well this is your beat stick. He's a 9 wound kind of combat thing that goes in and decimates units and tears them apart. Yes, that's true, but there's a bit more to him than that. He, every time a model dies within 12 inches of him, he gains a sacrifice point, and he gets 2 sacrifice points if it's a Darkoath unit that dies. Those cap at 6, and then in your hero phase, you can spend them to do different abilities. Now, it works a bit like Khorne used to work, where you have to spend all your dice in one go. You know, you can't spend 2 and then save the other 4. It's all or nothing, so you may as well try and get 6 points each turn and try and spend them every turn. His abilities that he gets to trigger from them are really good though. So, Mind Round, for each 4+, you pick an enemy unit within 12 inches, and until the end of the turn that issue cannot issue or receive commands. That's really, really good if you want to do some shenanigans, maybe to stop Inspiring Presence or Rally or something. That's really cool. And 4+ on average, you're going to get 3 units. I quite like that. Warping Balefire, for each 3+, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches and you do a mortal wound. Those mortal wounds don't themselves generate additional sacrifice points though. But again, 3+, so on average, what, 4 of them are going to go through. You could fairly reliably finish off a wounded support hero with that, so that's pretty nice. Dark Might, for each 3+, you heal a wound on him, and for each 6 you increase his wounds characteristic by 1 for the rest of the game. If you can roll hot on that over the course of the game, this thing's just got lots of wounds. You want to kill it because that's pretty reliable as well on a 2+, being able to heal up, and obviously you've got priests and stuff that you can use to top him up as well, so that's a pretty good one. On average, he's only going to get an extra wound added to his profile every time he uses it, but like you say, if you spike on that and you've got this Wilderfiend running around with like 15 wounds turn 2, that's pretty tasty. And then finally, Eye of the Dark Patron, which I missed at the very top of this page. For each 5+, pick a friendly mortal Darkoath unit and they get the Strike First effect. Now we know a lot of the Darkoath units, like the War Queen, like the Chieftain on foot, have got that rule where after they fight they get to pick a friendly Darkoath character to fight. So by using that, and again on average you're only going to get 2 of them, but if you can get that off and activate both your War Queen and your Chieftain, you've got a number of units there that can fight with Strikes First. So pretty tasty. He's quite hard to take down as well because you can't see him if you're more than 12 inches away from him, because he's kind of a weird kind of shadow creature. And what's really, really cool, if he dies and another Darkoath hero dies, on a 2+, this thing basically bursts out their body and you get a brand new Wilderfiend. It does explicitly state that you can do this multiple times, and again in a Darkoath army you're probably going to have your full allotment of heroes, so you can afford to be quite aggressive and reckless with that because it's quite easy to bring him back. And, you know, and that's on top of the Darkoath Chieftain bringing back units every turn as well, so really, really nice theme of this like endless tribe of horrors. So yeah, quite like him. You can take multiples in an army as well if you want to. From a lore point of view, they mention that you know, occasionally tribes will draw out additional ones to bring to battle. I don't know if you'd want 2 of them, maybe spread out in order to maximise those buffs maybe. They're pretty good in combat too. Then we've got the Darkoath Marauders. They can take just kind of close combat weapons or spears. The spears have got additional range but don't hit quite as hard. None of them have got rend, however if the unit makes a 7-inch charge they complete their oath and they increase their rend by 1. And again with the undivided keyword there's potential of stacking up on that too with some of the Eye of the Gods results as well, so they're pretty cool. They're a nasty unit to fight as well because every time one dies on a 5+, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. So a bit like the Molten Blood on the Magmadroth. Now, I've built a unit with spears and a unit with weapons because I think come 4th edition these are all going to change quite a lot, and we've seen some previews where the Stormcast are quite defensive with spears and get extra rend if they get charged. So at the minute, on paper, you'd probably go for the raided weapons because they're getting 2 attacks each, and you know they're not on massive bases, so you can swarm a target. I've built one of each to hedge my bets into 4th edition, and they look cool as well. I like having a range of different weapons on the models. And then we've got the Darkoath Fell Riders as well. They can be given javelins or broadswords. If they've got javelins, they get a range attack, 1 attack each, 12 inches. They only hit and wound on 4s, but they're -1 rend and do d3 damage, and there is a way to increase the rend on them as well. Obviously, if you're using them from a combat point of view, the broadswords are much better. They get an extra attack. They are hitting on 3s rather than 4s. Their oath rule is if they charge a unit and there's no friendly units within 3 inches, they complete their oath, and their javelins and broadswords, the rend increases by 1. So I do quite like the range ones. It's not, you know, it's only 5 shots and you're only hitting on 4s and it's not super reliable. But again, spike with that with rend 2 with d3 damage apiece. They can be quite a threat running around. They're quite annoying as well. It's -1 to shoot them, and if they charge, all that attack only hits on a 6 as well. Unleash Hell even only hits on a 6. So they're quite annoying units that you can use to like charge into things that we're going to shoot your lines and just be really annoying. They're quick hit, 12 inches as well. So really like them. So we've got the points over here. 110 points for the Chieftain, 170 for the Wilder Fiend, 80 points for the Marauders, which is a bargain, their battle line, and then 125 for the Riders and their battle line if the General's Darkoath, which I'm guessing if you picked up this box, you probably would. So I think you get just shy of 600 points in this box. The list I used the other day, I basically took all the other Darkoath stuff, so the Savages, the heroes, and then all the kind of gribbly monsters and a war shrine and stuff, and that was a really nice fun force. If you wanted to lean kind of fully Darkoath, you'd probably need to pick up 2 of these boxes, and then that gives you multiple kind of battle line units as well, spread out across the army. But yeah, I'm hoping these guys get more stuff added to them in the future because it's a really nice concept, and I think they look really, really cool. So before we close out the video though, I've not managed to finish painting these guys yet, but I've managed to do quite a bit of work on them. We've got all the base colours down on them and some shading, and it's just about time to start kind of highlighting and layering these up. And they are gorgeous models. The Chieftain's got like 3 different heads and a couple of different weapon options. I like the axe because it seemed a bit more savage, and the kind of half mask gave me Mad Max Fury Road vibes. The horse as well has got a couple of heads. I really like this one with the blade on, especially since he's got a profile, a weapon profile to represent the horse basically headbutting you with a sword. But yeah, really, really nice model, and yeah, I'd very much like to see more Darkoath stuff added in the future. We've then got the Riders, and again these are so much nicer than the old Marauders. Again, you've got the choice of weapons on them. You could maybe magnetise them, but I wasn't going to faff around with that. But again, really nice horses, lots of kind of character to them as well. The horses look evil. They are nasty horses with their face masks and horns and stuff. And again, really nice models. Like I say, I've just got the base coats and some washes down, using 2 thin coats paints, and then I'm going to be building these guys up over the next few weeks. So I'll hopefully have a Darkoath Army painted that I can show you guys next time I do a video. Here's one of the Marauders with sword and board, and again they're very similar to the Ravagers, are they? The Warcry unit. Savages, but obviously with the sword and shield, and you've got the spear and shield option too. Really nice models, and what I like about these as well, they're only 6 or 7 pieces as well, so they're pretty quick to paint, well, to build and paint. Some of the details are a bit fiddly. You've got lots of strapping underneath the arms and the shield and stuff, but getting them built and ready for the table, you can definitely get a horse together pretty quickly, which is nice. And then finally we've got the centrepiece. I say centrepiece, he's not a massive model, standing a little bit taller than the Chieftain, but he is a really sinister, weird looking model, and there's enough different head options and spikes and stuff to make multiple of these look different across the army. Yeah, so really enjoyed working on this guy. So again, I'm going to have pictures of these up on, if I get them done by the time the NDA drops on this, I'll have some better pictures over on Sprues and Brews, and if you're lucky I might be able to splice some in if I haven't edited by then. If not, the Darkoath's definitely going to be a force I'm going to be trying to get ready in time for 4th edition, because I'd quite like to have the army good to go and try out the new edition with. So yeah, let us know if you're interested in picking this up in the comments. You know, are you going to be adding some Darkoath to your existing army? Are you a fan of the Slaves of Darkness, and did you like this new look for them? I think over the next few years, I suspect a lot of the old Warhammer Fantasy kits we'll see leave the range, and we'll eventually have a nice just Age of Sigmar models. That's my guess anyway, don't quote me on that, but it looks like that's the way it's going, which is cool. So yeah, let's look at the new the Darkoath Army Set. So if you have enjoyed this, give us a follow. We do lots of unboxings and videos like this. We're going to get some battle reports up. They're kind of on a hiatus at the minute, because I'm probably going to pick them up again when 4th edition drops, because a lot of editing time goes into that, and the focus really going forward is going to be 4th edition. So keep tuned for that, because no doubt we'll be covering that in massive detail when it does drop as well. If you do want to support the site as well, we have got an affiliate link to Element Games in the description too. Anything you buy from that, we get a bit of a kickback, which goes towards making videos and running the website and everything. I've also got a full write-up over on spruesandbrews.com as well, where I go into more details on all the war scrolls and how the models were to build. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you soon.